All right, everyone.
It's showtime!
Showtime. CFM Radio.
CFM Radio! Welcome back. It is Wednesday again, my dudes.
Indeed, dudes. It is Wednesday. As usual, here we are, CFM Radio. I'm Vector, your host. As always, we have Drix spinning.
AKA DJ B3NOM.
And tonight we have a special guest.
Johnny, are you with us, brother Johnny?
Let's do it, and thank you for having me.
This is DJ Johnny Deals. Johnny, where can we find you on the internet?
Have me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Johnny Deals. Johnny Deals with an S at the end there.
There's been a lot of news today, so we'll do a quick little bit of housekeeping before we jump into the big stuff. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but if you've been listening to Clusterfuck Media and CFM Radio, it seems that ever since it was announced, the deal between Activision Blizzard and Microsoft has been snagging industry headlines in gaming. Every week we talk about this deal. Yesterday, however, a major shakeup was announced in the world of electronic arts that has seen the company rename their EA Games division to EA Entertainment. The headline from IGN reads, EA Sports and EA Games splitting apart in internal shakeup. From the article, quote, "We are building the future of interactive entertainment on a foundation of legendary franchises and innovative new experiences, which represents massive opportunities for growth," CEO Andrew Wilson wrote in a message announcing the news. Guys, EA, juggernaut of gaming, splitting up internally.
Is this what happens when a company gets a little too big for its britches and, decides to downsize in a way that makes sense? Maybe just a split. We'll be split in twain and hopefully specialize and focus on our strengths.
Yeah, like a new Madden. A new Madden would be cool. Maybe like
honestly,
a different one.
Honestly, okay, here's my whole thing, at a glance, is I am an old school Madden fan. I am an old school NHL fan, sports game fan. I love those games on the PS2.
Yeah.
I love those games, even early PS3 Maddens and NHL games, all those, and MLB games, all those games are so good.
Hit stick was like the last revolutionary thing they introduced, though. That when they brought the hit stick in, I remember it was 2005. I remember that.
You are right, Johnny. It was incredible. Those games were awesome, and ever since, I guess you're right too. And around the mid-2000s,
Ray Lewis, bro, just won the Super Bowl. Remember that? Ray Lewis. the Madden curse. The Madden curse.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you hit one with that one.
But man, it was around the mid-2000s, those games just started, mid PS3 era, those games just started going right down the toilet.
You get the best quarterback, right, with the best stats, and you get the team with the best quarterback and the best wide receiver on the right. Personally, my personal favorite, right? You get with the best stats. What you do is you do a Hail Mary every single time. You run all the way back 30 yards. You'll get it 9 times out of 10 to that.
Yeah, I think that was my strategy in NFL Blitz too.
That's how you win every single Madden. Sorry.
Legit though, legit. You're not wrong. You'll get to a pretty high rank with that. But
the numbers game.
But man, so to me, this split between EA Sports and EA Entertainment, I guess, sounds fine to me. If we get more love on our sports games and make them as good as they were back when we were kids.
You know what? Not to cut you off there, dude. What about SimCity?
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
Isn't that a lot of
bigger umbrella than just?
I'm saying SimCity. I'm saying,
yeah.
How about a really good Star Wars that's not?
No, you're right.
like another Kotar. I'm thinking maybe. Come on, guys. You guys
They'll
are splitting this
remake
company
it.
up. You have more room. You have more room, more time. Focus on that Kotar 3. You know it's money in the bag, dude. You know that's money right there.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Johnny, because honestly, well, it goes on to clarify that, quote, as before, EA Sports will continue to look after F1 series which just released, as well as PGA Tour and the newly acquired Super Mega Baseball. This on top of traditional blockbusters, including Madden, the newly renamed EA Sports FC, NHL, and upcoming college football reboots. And then EA Entertainment, meanwhile, will encompass, like you were saying, Drix, Dice, Respawn, Ripple Effect, Ridgeline Games, which is Battlefield, First Full Circle, which is Skate, Motive Studio, which is Iron Man, EA Seattle Studio, BioWare, EA Origins label. This also includes all their mobile games, including Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and the new Lord of the Rings Middle Earth mobile game. Listen, this is a huge... Drix, you're not kidding. This is a huge empire of gaming. And not only have they not had a big hit, they are, they seem a little unfocused. So this might just get them right on the right track. And we might be having some great EA games again. Who knows?
EA, the Disney of video game companies. Say that right now, because honestly, it reminds me a lot of the MCU right now. Like they're sitting there, they're flopping, they're failing. They had all this, they had this good stuff, but they're on a bad roll right now. I agree with you on
Very
that.
true.
Because I'm thinking about that, I'm like, man, they just barely put Tiger Woods back at PGA, man. What's going on with the world?
Wow,
today,
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah, man, Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
He was
both of those
games.
companies have been making games since like the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Both Disney and EA.
I remember that, man. I remember playing that. The Super NES. I remember playing Madden '95, bro. I remember seeing my first loading screen, which was 1997 Madden. I remember that.
While you may not know it, another legendary gaming icon is releasing a puzzle spin-off title. Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine is a spin-off of the Tough as Nails platformer Super Meat Boy, with a perfect title for both the name of the game itself and a fantastic homage to spin-offs in gaming. From the Steam page, help Dr. Fetus create the perfect Meat Boy clone in a unique new twist on tile matching puzzle genre. Gosh, ugh. In classic Meat Boy fashion, an endless cavalcade of devious and deadly traps stand between you and victory in this hardcore puzzle game that will push your skills to the limit. I am one of those people who grew up on platformers, got older, got jaded, and then hit Super Meat Boy, and it reignited my love for the genre again in like my early adulthood. So I was like, oh my god, like, because it's so it was so, there's no other way to say it, cathartic to get those crazy maneuvers off and then hit the ending and you're like, oh my god, like throw the controller in the air and walk away from the screen for 5 minutes. You're like, woo.
Would you say that Meat Boy crawled so Cuphead could run?
In a couple of specific ways, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that one.
Rounding out a surprisingly standout week of releases is the controversial and storied urban combat simulator 6 Days in Fallujah. 6 Days in Fallujah is a very, very storied game. This It has a unique history in gaming, being announced in 2004 and then canceled in 2009 after losing the backing of the original publisher over the raw nature of the moment in history developers were attempting to capture. In an interview with Polygon today, CEO Peter, or an interview with Polygon referenced today in another article, CEO Peter Taunt of the game's new publisher Vector responds. His responses noted the team was, quote, not trying to make a political statement with its work on 6 days, and he defended the decision to not address the war crimes attributed to the U.S. troops. Whatever the case, the controversial military shooter releases tomorrow. Further reading in the article also goes on to say that one of the soldiers who was part of this operation that this game was based upon, said that he was essentially, he was hurt there. He was essentially just following orders, and in retrospect, he didn't even know why he was there either. So there is a story to tell. I remember the original game before 6 Days in Fallujah that got a lot of that was starting to get a lot of press was actually a game called Full Spectrum Warrior, and that was a game that was supposedly a game that was based upon actual computer simulations given to military personnel that were going into Iraq.
See, is that where I'm getting that from? Probably. I'm probably getting
that from tactical training program. I remember playing that on the Xbox.
Yeah. I remember playing it on the Xbox as well. It's actually a pretty good game if you ever played Full Spectrum Warrior. But that also got a ton of controversy for it being for the moment in history. Again, it was attempting to depict. Came out. It didn't do amazing because I think the online play wasn't great, and it was a really hard game. So definitely tactical, and
like
I think like SOCOM, but like way. One hit you die kind of thing. Pretty nuts.
Okay, yeah, real life.
Yeah,
real life urban warfare.
But you could do really cool tactical maneuvers. Like there were a lot of places because you controlled a 4-man team, so there was a lot of places you could set up and post up to just execute an operation. Like if you could think in that way, it was really good. Yeah, and
how to do a in the military when they were going into the urban warfare when they're hunched down, they're in those little touring Roman little, they have the guns and they're all together, huddle in, and guys watching your six, guys watching your back. Why, if they can figure out how to make a game like that, where you're going in and you're clearing out and you're doing literally urban warfare, house to house combat, that'd be kind of interesting.
That'd be crazy.
Well, then again, like I said, like that, I think that might be a little too real for people too. That's hardcore. That was the war, dude. That and
is it?
They waited the necessary 21 and a half so years before the incident and before people can kind of talk about it in a different light.
And again, like 6 Days in Fallujah, the storied history in between the time that this game was announced and the time that it's being released tomorrow, right alongside Final Fantasy 16, is in between that time, we also had the reboot of Medal of Honor that got a ton of backlash for arguably realistic depictions of Al-Qaeda soldiers not only being playable, but being like a big featured point of the development. Like these people went there and actually saw how these people were dressed and what they used and stuff like that, and really tailor-made the game.
I miss the good old days when people weren't scared of making stuff like this, man. That's cool. That's really cool shit, man. That's cool.
Try to show some respect for at least
the cultural norms.
Listen. 6 Days in Fallujah's here, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's here.
I might give it a whirl. If it's on the Xbox, I'll give it to me, it seems more like an Xbox. To me, I don't know what it is about Xbox, but just, I think of camo. I think of Halo.
Yeah, right. It is Halo.
PlayStation, I want to be, I want to have spiky hair. I want the orchestra, Latin music. I want to be, demons around me.
The full 9.
Anime.
But yeah, dude, that's freaking
Anime.
crazy. I can't believe we're talking about this right now because this is something. I feel like I grew up with this story, like just hearing always about this game. I'm like, I remember being 25, just being like, we're still talking about Fallujah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're
6 days in
talking about-
Fallujah?
Next thing you know, they're gonna do 6 days in Benghazi. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, that was a dark one. I'm sorry. That was
That's pretty dark. But you know
that was
what?
pretty dark. I don't think they
Again,
got 6 days.
could happen.
Douche. That was in 20 years.
I'm gonna say it. I'll say it right here now. 6 days in Fallujah is here.
Okay.
Like
We're doing it.
you'll be able to play it for Steam. I don't see Steam
Okay.
early access tomorrow. Honestly, guys, if you go to 6days.com, this game, not gonna lie, looks pretty incredible. Guys, what was your favorite parts of the Nintendo Direct today? Johnny, what was your favorite parts?
Favorite parts, probably the Mario remake, the Mario RPG remake.
Oh yeah, you missed
I
out
also-
on that one, didn't you?
I didn't get to play it really. I tried it out when I got the
Wow.
SNES Mini, but I was too distracted with Final Fantasy VI at the time to play that game.
Both are
But-
great.
Oh well, anything Square makes is pretty good. But that, especially that time period, the guys who were making that,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
those are some of my top SNES games that, like, you know, if I died tomorrow, I wish I would have beat those because I had plenty of time.
when you're in the old person home, it's on your list to do before you kick the bucket.
Yeah, those are some bucket list Super Nintendo RPGs, and yeah, I'm also super excited about that Super Mario RPG remake. We never thought we would see the day that
Yeah.
happened. The RPG fans are excited now. Some
Yeah,
the joke is it's the best Final Fantasy is Super Mario RPG.
If you told me that they were planning a remake of Super Mario RPG, I would have called you crazy. I would have called you absolutely insane because, like, you know, whenever they re-release it, there's never a lot of fanfare. It's always a super hush hush thing. They never directly address it. They always give you teasers, like they give you like, oh, here's a Geno costume for your Mii in Smash Bros. Like, you know, like junk like that. Like they never give you anything satisfying, and they never acknowledge it, and that's my main problem with it. Like Nintendo almost always seems to have, or had almost always had a problem with acknowledging it, probably because of the relation with Square. But we were talking earlier in the cast, you know. You got Cloud in Smash. You got Sora in Smash. The one thing that I hope that the Pikmin 1 and 2 for the Switch have, and I don't know if they're going to have it, but I want them to have the motion controls from the Wii Pikmin remake.
Ooh.
Okay, that'd be kind
Be-
of cool.
Those control, if you've never played Pikmin, the original Pikmin with the Wii controls, dude, you could play that game like StarCraft. Like, it's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's so cool. It's such an awesome experience. So if
becomes a
that
real
is
fun
there,
strategy.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
infamous.
it's there,
Motion controlled RTS.
what about Batman? Batman's on there. We got Batman coming, Arkham City, Arkham trilogy. They're coming
Okay.
this way.
controversial opinion. I don't give a fuck about those games.
You're not a Batman person?
No, it's not that I'm not a Batman person. It's that I think I can firmly say that the Batman Arkham series is the new Resident Evil 4 in that it's on literally everything. Like my calculator can run Arkham Asylum.
It's like Skyrim.
You know,
It's like
yeah,
Skyrim, bro.
like
It's
Well,
in
Yeah.
the
we got here is
Skyrim
Batman
phase.
again. Here we go, Batman, Todd Howard.
yeah, it's Batman Todd Howard. Jeez, you know, hand in hand. Like,
And a,
but no,
a Switch port might be a bit of a downgrade for like the graphics and stuff.
Maybe.
but-
Especially that third game, dude. That
The
third
third
game.
game.
That third game holds up, dude.
I don't worry about the first two games. Like, I actually think the first two games on a Switch probably are the best part of the trilogy.
Especially that first
Like,
one. That first one's going to be solid on that.
Oh yeah, and that'll be great to play handheld. I'm excited. Like, if anything, if I can buy just Arkham Asylum, if I don't need to get all three, if I could just buy Arkham Asylum standalone for like $15, I'm getting it day one.
You got to look at it though. You got guys like me who have got kids and who has a Switch, and my kid loves Batman, and he's never got to play those games. And guess what? How old he is this year? He's 11. So guess what he's getting this year? The trilogy.
Batman Arkham Trilogy. Hey,
yeah,
you know what,
that
man?
might be the market.
Hey, you know what, man? Like I said, my whole gripe with it, we had Arkham Trilogy on the last generation. We had Arkham Asylum and Arkham City double pack on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. This game is everywhere. It's always on everything.
Yeah.
And these consoles are backwards compatible.
Watch them do a mobile Switch edition with the Batarang on the back of it. That'd be kind of cool.
The collector's box.
There's money. Like I said, there's money on the table. People are gonna do it.
So that'll lead us down to an interesting path. Do you, as a Wii U owner, I remember the Armored Edition of Arkham City, and you did have a lot of like unique power ups and attacks in that Wii U version. So hey, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, you never know. It could happen.
I'm really excited for that unnamed Princess Peach spin-off game.
Peaches. I had
Like,
to say that.
Yeah, good for her. Go, girl.
We haven't had a Peach game since the DS with Super Princess Peach, and that game was awesome. Like, if you never played Super Princess Peach, that's like probably one of the most solid platformers you could play. And one of the things with Peach in a lot of these Nintendo platformer games is Peach is designed to sort of be a beginner character because she can float. In Super Princess Peach, that game's hard.
Oh man!
Like, it's you got puzzles with the floating. I'm super excited in Super Mario Wonder for playable Daisy.
Yes.
Hey, that sounds pretty fun. Hey.
She's the same age as me.
Hey, she's getting popular. I'll just say that she's becoming more popular. Since that movie came out, I've heard a lot of little girls even say like, "Oh, I like her. She's my favorite character." Like,
yeah,
wow.
She's the one you'd actually want to hang out with. And I'm also loving how Sonic and Mario Wonder are giving you this side-scrolling multiplayer experience now, because that definitely wasn't possible back in the day. But
you could do quads on the new Sonic game, dude.
Yeah, 4-player action. I would like to play that with you guys and others.
Oh,
we'd have a great time, and so would the children's.
My kid's gonna be all over that one, dude. Dad, let's play that right now. I'm gonna be like, dude, I already know.
Like,
I already know.
Mm-hmm.
Possible streaming opportunity, fellas?
Father son streaming.
Yes.
Possible streaming opportunity. Okay, so I don't know if you guys were as hype as I was when I saw Detective Pikachu 2, but I think I was one of like 8 people who played the Detective Pikachu game on the 3DS. I fucking love that game. I love that game. I can't wait for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. I know the new Pokemon is controversial, but I think it's the best Pokemon in years. The new DLC looks amazing.
I have a hard time with that new Pokemon. You know what? I'm gonna wait and play that one on a different system. I think the system on it chugs, bro. It chugs. I mean, I'm not saying. And I played it for a little bit. It's good, but just couldn't get past the chugging.
let's not gloss over Pikmin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. New battle mode. That's the one thing that I've and your pet, your cool pet dog that you can order around and do fun stuff with. Yeah, a couple new additions that we haven't seen.
It's a weird
So
game.
I gotta say, I'm really excited for the new dog. It looks like a really, really cool addition, and I'm super excited to explore at night. But I think this is going to be one of the most difficult Pikmin games we'll ever play, because if you know Pikmin, the more and more they automate things on the Pikmin side, like if they give you a powerful tool to go along with your Pikmin, or they make like rock Pikmin, right? Super powerful Pikmin type in the Pikmin 3. Though the game itself, they expect you to master and utilize those soldiers very quickly, and if you don't, you are punished very heavily.
Yeah.
And if there is a point in this game where I am battling against AI, if that AI is at all semi-competent, I think people are going to have a really hard time.
Chat GPT AI up in that Pikmin game of yours. Just wrecking
Oh
you.
man, no, the Google AI that could play StarCraft 2 that beat the champion.
Dude, they had to bring down the AI in the past 2 Elder Scroll games because they were just too difficult. They were outsmarting the character when they were making those games. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Another franchise that I didn't think I would see come back, Dragon Quest Monsters.
Yeah. What is that one about? What's the spin-off here?
It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like a Pokemon type of dragon.
Ah,
quest thing
gotcha.
going on.
It's a gotcha game. Dragon Quest gotcha.
Actually, so if there was any Pokemon like, I guess let's just call it like that, in the vein of Persona, in the vein of Digimon, in the vein of anything like that, in the vein of SMT, Temtem, if there was anything that was Pokemon but better, I think it's Dragon Warrior Monsters.
Okay.
Because
Strong.
That's what I've heard people say.
yeah, if it's like, because it takes its stat, because it takes the stat system seriously.
Nice.
Like
It's a Dragon Quest game?
Yeah, it's a Dragon Quest game, and it takes like your Dragon Quest game and it applies your Dragon Quest fundamentals to literally all the different kinds of monsters that are in Dragon Quest.
Here we go now, kick punch block. Kick punch block. Chop kick block. Chop kick block. Block back and kick it. Block time kick. Block the punch. Block the punch.
I don't want to gloss over either the Luigi's Mansion 2 remake. I feel like Luigi's Mansion 2 was one of those games, like a truly overlooked game. It's a really good 3D for a 3DS game. The visuals are insanely good. So I'm really happy that the second game, Dark Moon, is getting a remake on the Switch, because if you played Luigi's Mansion 3, that game is probably one of the most visually stunning games on the Switch. That game looks incredible.
Yeah, it's still on my to purchase list of Nintendo games for the Switch that, never lower in price.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, was there any of those indie games that you guys were looking forward to?
I was watching the chat during the YouTube stream, and there was a lot of repeated Z's and claims of mids is the word they're using. It's at mids for a slew of the roguelike card games and stuff, what they might call a mobile game, like in the comment section on the internet. But yeah, there was the first person one that looked pretty cool to me. It kind of appealed anyway. It's like an online roguelike game.
The Myth Force one?
Yeah, the cell shaded graphics always.
I like that one.
It's me in a spot, and I think if I played with my friends, we'd have a great time.
A WarriorWare, they got that going on again.
That
WarriorWare looks great.
I saw that on there. That was a trip. That tripped me out. I was like, we're still doing WarriorWare? I haven't seen WarriorWare in a minute. Maybe because I
Yo, the last one was awesome.
It's gonna be a good season for party gamers with WarioWare and the other headbanging pigeons game.
I'm
The,
just glad
the
we just didn't
rhythm
get a
battle
bunch of,
royale.
I'm just glad we just didn't get a bunch of farming games this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, that's
couple,
awesome too.
Couple of them.
Yeah.
One of them was free to play though, so
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that one.
there is
So
a cozy game fan base.
interesting tidbit about that Palia game. That's from some ex-WoW devs.
Wow. Is the only appropriate response.
Really?
Indeed. Yeah, it is from some ex-WoW devs. So it'll probably at least be solid, right?
Got some quality to it.
Yeah, have a little bit of polish.
Got a little bit of that Blizzard. On
A
there.
little bit old school Blizzard, right? Like,
Yeah,
When
WoW
Blizzard was
classic.
yeah, seriously.
good. I mean,
I will say, as on the indie side, I like Drix right there with you on Myth Force. Looks awesome. I'm down to play that with you. I really want to play Silent Hope. Silent Hope is that new Xseed action RPG because they didn't mention it in the trailer, but if you go on the website, that is tied to the Rune Factory series.
Oh. Huh. Yeah, and you've actually reviewed a few of those, haven't you?
Yeah, I love Rune Factory. Big fan. I played almost all of them. Well, not almost all of them. I played 3, and then the one on the Wii, and then I played the more recent ones. But I love Rune Factory. They're so cool. A Fantasy Harvest Moon, you know?
Nice.
I really want to try the Fae Farm game because it's a Switch exclusive.
Yeah, good for them. They finally got one.
Yeah, right.
you haven't made it until you made a farm game.
Yeah, right. Like, I want to try it just because it's a Switch exclusive, and like I feel like we don't get very many third-party Switch exclusives.
Yeah, it's something to see. It's something to test the waters on.
And you know, let's not forget couch co-op Vampire Survivors.
Oh wow, I didn't catch that part, but yeah, Vampire Survivors is a great game. You're gonna love
What about,
playing it on a handheld.
Persona 5 Tactica. That looked pretty cool.
You know, this was the first time I
forgot.
saw the art style. Yeah, the chibi. It's like Attack on Titan, high school version. But
Yeah.
I am now more intrigued in the story, and from what we've seen earlier today.
So the Persona Q, that's like the Persona Q art style, right? Like from the DS.
So-
Yeah, I guess so. That makes sense.
Anyway,
One last thing. Sorry. Star Ocean.
oh,
Oh.
I had to
right.
make sure I mentioned
I've
that.
forgotten.
Star Ocean. One of the most.
Oh
popular
my
games.
god.
Yeah,
I gotta
I've
get
already
the
been
one on the
targeted for that.
PlayStation. Oh, I forgot.
If they can
I forgot
remake that
they-
second one, that one for the PS2 though. Oh, the one for the PS2.
Dude, Till the End of
Mhm.
Time is one of my
Yes.
favorite JRPGs. Like,
But I'm down to
Yeah.
try this one out. The art style for this one looks pretty badass. They got
Yeah.
the 2D pixel with the 3D background environment. That's kind of. I'm
Yeah,
digging
that's
that
right
that,
up
the
my
vibe.
alley.
I'm digging that
Yep.
vibe, dog.
I'm just happy to see Star Ocean alive and well.
Just do Final Fantasy VI that way. We'll call it a day.
Seriously though. CFM Radio. It is Final Fantasy 16 Eve.
Oh man.
You better
We
leave
are-
your cookies out for Sephiroth. It's Christmas Eve here for Final Fantasy fans here.
Absolutely. I am so hype for this game.
It comes out like in 20 minutes.
Looks
Digitally,
incredible.
if you're on the west coast of the United States.
I'm going to go pick my copy up tomorrow,
Physical.
physically. Hey man, they said that you'd be able to play the whole thing on the disc.
Whew.
Actually,
Yeah.
real quick, they did a performance patch update. They did do
Right.
one.
After that demo.
Yeah, they did. That demo was quite good. I do got to say the mechanics of this new battle system are on par and fresh, and I think it's something the Final Fantasy formula needed. It needed some shakeup, you know.
I
Yeah.
agree.
It was always the progressive franchise, you know? And I mean,
It's
if you
always
want turn-based games, there's plenty of other options that Square has brought and will continue to bring
the Bernie
for your
Sanders of
turn-based
video
fans.
games, man. It's the Bernie
But
Sanders of video
man,
games. Progressive. But yeah,
but
man.
yeah, some of the best music ever written in games, I feel like, really
Which one's your
inspired
favorite?
me to what musically?
Well, if you had an OST out of all of them, which one would you pick? You got to listen to last time you're gonna listen to anything. Which one are you listening to?
God, that's such a hard question.
Final
so
Fantasy
hard.
X.
Yeah, he knows already.
That's
It's my
like in my
favorite game.
top 3.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite game of all time, dude.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's between like 7 and 10 for me. Or if I could just get a medley of all like the battle music, I could survive
God.
anything.
But Final Fantasy IX has such an incredible soundtrack. And for all of its faults, Final Fantasy XII has such an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah,
And
it did.
like, oh my God, there's so many good Final Fantasy soundtracks.
What's
Like
your guys'
even some of the spin-offs. Like,
What's your favorite battle system? How about that one? That's a good question.
ha,
Call me old, but I miss Materia.
Materia.
I
Okay,
want
Materia was a
to
good
just smash
system.
Materia over. Sphere Grid's pretty good too.
I was gonna say Sphere Grid easily
Especially
for
once
me.
they opened it up to expert too. A lot of options
International
there.
Edition Sphere Grid. Like,
Dude, 10, I don't know. Me personally, I think had the best just because. Oh, I mean, 12 kind of you could too, but 12 they could fall through the cracks. I would say 10 because of the battle system, because of you had to utilize everybody.
Yeah, and could
A
do
lot
that
of-
instantly.
A lot of people would say Kamari would fall to the side, but a lot of people I talk to, Kamari can be very powerful if you know what the hell
it's
you're
all about how
doing.
you built it.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If you know what you're doing with that game, dude.
Everybody's versatile.
Yeah, everybody knows Holy, man.
I will say, again, if we're talking Final Fantasy X and we're talking the Sphere Grid, I gotta give a shout out to the International Edition. When you get that International Edition, boy, that Sphere Grid, it really opens up. You think
Broke the
Kamari's
game.
decent now?
I broke the
Like,
game right before Gagazet Mountain, right in the Calmlands. I broke the game.
nice.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, what was I doing? I was one shot with Orin, and then I was at the point where I had Kamari with everything. He had everything magic you could use. Like he was just another mage, but like better than Lulu and Yuna. It was ridiculous.
Right? Yeah, Kamari ended up being a really, really good mage.
If you know what you're doing, especially with that international Spear Grid, you know what you're doing. You can really
Yeah.
break that game early on, dude. I've seen people do it online. I've seen people stream it.
Mhm.
Sorry, not to talk about 10 so much. What do you think?
No,
is
it's a fantastic game.
The most
Yeah.
underrated Final Fantasy game, and 8 doesn't count.
4.
4.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm gonna say 5.
5 is good. I feel like 5 gets a lot of stealth fanfare.
Well, the main boss isn't that great. And the story ain't that great, but that battling system with the 3
Really,
started in it, but 5, man, 5 with that job system.
I don't know, dude. Like, I like the story of X Death, and I understand the.
I just ran through that right now. Actually, I just did a pixel remaster run through of that.
Yeah, I like the story. Final Fantasy V's story is unique amongst the Final Fantasy franchise because Final Fantasy V isn't really a hero's journey. It's a journey. It's a game that focuses much more on the core idea of it's not about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey and the people you take it with.
Yes.
Because like the story of Bart's Clouser is so like tragic.
He
like-
did end that game with the whole party of women, by the way. Just
Right,
you know,
yeah,
it's the most
right.
feminist of all the
Hey.
Final Fantasies, yeah, because Golf dies. Spoiler
Yeah,
alert, by
Golf
the way, guys.
dies,
Golf
yeah.
dies.
You had plenty of time.
His daughter comes in and takes over the role for him.
It's
And all-
crazy. It's a crazy game.
It is
It's
very good.
truly about the boundaries of friendship and how far you're willing to go for somebody.
If you ask me out of all those pixels though, out of all of the pixel, 1 through 6, dude. You played 6?
Oh, 6 is timeless.
6 is when Kefka destroys the world.
Yeah.
When he destroys the
Kefka.
world and the pixel, the SNES animation of him destroying the world and showing what it looked like, it was on par with like a Dragon Ball Z destruction machine.
Yeah.
It just shows the Earth, and it showed like these atomic bombs going off, and it was just like you could feel the magnitude. And then when you get to Celeste, she's just sitting there, like all hope is lost. The person that saved her died, and she tries to commit suicide, and she gets back up, and she realizes she can keep going. She survives.
Right.
And that game alone, man. I mean, just the story of that game, the falling down as hard as that group of Final Fantasy party did, and the way they came back, and just to show Kefka what they were about it's just something about that game, man. The people dealing with their traumas in that game and how they get over them. A very powerful game. It changed a lot of people's lives in '94 when that came out.
I agree.
That time period, and they almost talk about it like they watched Star Wars for the first time. Or Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean?
I feel as though, in a way, though, we in the West, because I'm not going to take anything away from Final Fantasy VI, but I feel as though, as far as the experience of how those stories are told, we really missed out by having by not getting 3. Because
you're talking
we got
about that whole thing.
Yeah.
How we got
we
3
got
4. Yeah, I get
yeah, you know,
2 was
we
4,
got
3 was 6. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, thank God we got Final Fantasy IV, because that was the hero's journey that resonated with me.
I'm glad we got the real version of it on the Game Boy Advance version.
Game Boy Advance one.
But you think about it though, the people that played that fourth one, the second, Final Fantasy II on the Super NES.
Yeah, it's you.
They got a spoon-fed version of Final Fantasy. Kind of, probably led to
very strange.
It, you know what I mean? Well, it's like people starting off on Mystic Quest. Like, what the hell is Mystic Quest?
Hey, Mystic Quest was the one that if you were an American, you were meant to start there.
Yeah, but that's the reason they didn't give us 5.
Yeah.
5 is too hard for you guys. It's too hard for us. They said.
Very hard. It is hard. It was hard as fuck.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're first time going in at that game, you're gonna get your butt kicked. It's not easy.
It's hard.
But I mean, moving on up. Let's
Yeah.
get to 7. Now let's talk about 7 for a second here. I mean, 7. I remember being 7 years old, getting a PlayStation for the first time. My God, brother gave me Final Fantasy 7 for my birthday. I had no idea what the hell Final Fantasy was. I had no idea the first time I ever tried any Final JRPG ever. I threw that thing in, dude. And seeing the materia fall off of Aerith, or Ares, or whatever they want to call her, just seeing that come off, and that scene, and then the cutting of into the scene where it shows the tracks and this train going around Midgar.
Yeah.
And then it just pans out. It just
Epic
pans
opening.
out. And you just see the grandeur of what Sakaguchi at the time was trying to produce with the Final Fantasy series. It was just amazing. It was just, I remember just being 7, like it was just this kid, and just being amazed that I put this disc in, and then I got this. This is what I got. I just, what is this? This is like a movie. You know what I mean? And it just felt like you were playing a movie at the time. I felt like it felt like it was important. You felt the weight of the characters, and you didn't even know who Sephiroth was the first 2 hours of the game in Midgar. You had no idea what the hell was going on. And once you get a hint of that guy, once you get a hint of the sword and the Shinra building and the back of the president, oh my God, dude. The game, you thought the game was already crazy as it was, and the game just now the game's starting. Now the game is starting. You're telling me the game is starting now? After all, that wasn't the game. That was the first. What? What are you talking? You know, it was just amazing, dude. It
Gotta
was
put
just
in another disc.
nobody ever did that before. No one had ever done that before and ever reached that level before. It was just like I
It
said,
was,
keep
it was
going,
game
sorry.
of the year,
It was game
1997
game of the
or 8.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of the
game of
PlayStation
generation, pretty
of the
much.
PlayStation generation. I mean, not the Nintendo, because we're gonna give that to Ocarina. We'll give it to
Yeah,
Mario.
actually, yeah, you
But
gotta
that
give it to
is that's our Ocarina for PlayStation Bookie Kids. That was
Yep.
our guy.
I'll give it to you. I mean,
So,
honestly, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Final Fantasy VII. It wasn't very. I when I played it as a kid, I didn't find it very compelling. Um, mainly because when I was playing by the time I had played Final Fantasy VII, I had already played Wild Arms 2. I had already played Breath of Fire 4. I
So
had
you already
already
had-
played. I had already played a lot of JRPGs, and I had already wrestled with the idea that the metaphor, the idea of the metaphor of God, and what the metaphor of God actually meant in this context, because I was exposed to it over and over and over. So when I saw Final Fantasy VII for the first time, I thought it visually blew me away. But the Final Fantasy on the PS1 that holds my nostalgia very, very dearly and hardcore is Final Fantasy IX,
That's a
because
good one, dude. That is a good
because
game.
Final Fantasy IX is again unique in the Final Fantasy games, where the core of it is a love story.
Yeah, same thing with 10. Same thing with
Yep.
I mean, even parts of 7, I would say is a love story. But 9, dude, I do gotta give you on 9. 9's battle system is ridiculously fun. Once you get the hang of that battle system, it's I wouldn't even compare it.
Oh, it's
almost
addicting.
to like 7 or 10. Like it's up there.
Yeah, it's up
very
there.
addictive. But I mean, if you know what you're doing, I mean, by the time you get into that game, you know what you have Yuffie, dude. You can mess up some stuff. Or
In
Vivi's
Final Fantasy VII, it was crazy. But no.
Vivi. I get Yuffie and Vivi mixed up. I don't know why.
Oh my God, Vivi is insane.
Oh, Vivi's
no,
a power horse.
Yeah.
Powerhouse. That little dude. And then for our age, that time period, you struggle with the concept of existence and what
Yep,
you are. and the
existence,
universe,
yeah.
and then
Your own identity.
Well, then that, like I said, Rise Crack, this YouTube channel I follow, they talked about a long time ago about how trauma is a very big part of Final Fantasy. And I agree with that. Like that right there, Vivi trying to deal with the trauma of not knowing what the heck he is, and then to see him try overcome, the fear of not existing anymore, not knowing, is he going to become bad like his puppet, his puppet brothers were, but to see him come out of it and to have children, and to have a love of his own. It's implied. It's not said, but it's implied.
Right.
But to see that is just that's important. That's important. That's something you can kind of see in a movie. You can kind of get in a song. Might get in a book, but you see on that level you see with Vivi and his family, it was just, I don't know, man. I got a little bit teary-eyed in that part in that game. That game was pretty good, dude. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah, it's the the emotional content of the stories are always emotionally gripping.
Well, he also mirrors.
Yep.
What's his name? I can't remember the bad guy. Kuja.
Yeah.
Bad guy?
Kuja.
Okay, his story is the opposite mirror of his.
Yeah, Zidane.
But it shows what he did with it, with his trauma, instead of the other guy. The other guy took his trauma and ran with it and tried to destroy everything. Like, he was just insane.
The main appeal of 9 to me is the fact that, yes, that you have all these people who have this baggage, but it's like you said, a lot of these Final Fantasy IX is a love story at its core, but it's a love story in a unique way because it is a game of contrasts, and the themes are of contrast. It is a what do they describe it as? A symmetrical contrast. Just like you said, how Kuja and Zidane are symmetrical contrasts of one another.
Same thing with Vivi too. I would say
Vivi and the Black Waltz are symmetrical contrasts of one another.
Okay, I see what
just
you're saying now.
as Garnet and Queen Braun are symmetrical contrasts of one another.
So would that
and
make
Beatrix and Steiner?
Steiner,
you have Yeah, Beatrix and Steiner, and like it's not just about individuality; it's the consequences of your individuality, where the logical endpoint of all of these things leads to. It's like this is who you are right now, and this is what you can become, but you have the power to change it. You know what I
Your
mean?
choice, pretty much, and it shows you what you can do with that choice. And
That's why I love Final Fantasy 9, and that's why I also love Final Fantasy 10, and that's why it's why I want to love Final Fantasy 12. But Final Fantasy 12 really just flirts with the idea rather than goes whole hog into it, because the whole Gabranth and his brother thing kind of falls flat on its face. Because it's not about them, it's about Vaughn. So like,
I'll tell you that right now. 12 was they had a lot of big shoes to fill in with the guy who made 12.
He really did. Hey, he did a lot.
He's the guy from Tactics, I think, who made that one.
That was
did
an
okay.
awesome
game, though,
game.
dude. The battle system in 12 is great.
Sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
12 is an
I'm not
awesome
a
game.
If you understand programming, like from a fundamental level, like from a basic level, you understand programming and understand how algorithms and how, on-off goes.
If not X, then Y.
Yeah.
Exactly. You could tear some stuff up.
It's not even about. I wouldn't even go I wouldn't even go so deep as to make it like it's. I wouldn't say it's like Baba is you, right?
You should have seen my party, bro. My party was like if do this, Fran does that.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. I think of it more like XCOM rather than like Baba is you, right? Because like when I played Final Fantasy 12, I pretty much did the same thing, and it's like, all right, everyone's just gonna get into a formation, and we're just gonna move up as a unit, and if you try to do anything to us, you're just gonna get killed.
Yeah, dude, that's what you want to program. That's the goal.
That's one way to play it, bro. That's one way to play it, man. I mean, that.
But
game
you know what? Let's quit reminiscing on the past. 16 comes out in 5 minutes. What, 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
Yeah,
2 minutes?
we're getting close.
What we talking about? 16. We got sheesh, dude. What do you think about the music? How about that? What do you think about the music for 16?
Everything that I've seen and heard looks incredible.
It sounds like they got Nobuo Uematsu and the guy who makes Dark Souls. The Latin music, the Latin screaming music.
Ooh, you're probably right.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I didn't know.
They got the best of both of those worlds and put them together. Because I was playing the Ifrit fight, I was noticing, I was like, this is just Final Fantasy music with Dark Souls Latin singing on top of it. and it goes hard.
It goes
very
hard.
So hard.
It goes harder than the bank, bro. It's pretty hard.
So a lot of outlets were projecting that this game was going to be one of the Game of the Year candidates, and Metacritic right now has it number 8 as the best PlayStation 5 game of 2023. But Metascore, fellas, this Metascore is only 88.
Huh?
Yeah, give it a couple days. I mean, right now I feel like we're looking at it like when a movie comes out. You always get that weird reaction until you get the actual release date over it. Just give it a couple days, I'd say, and then.
I think so. I think you got some. That's a good tempered.
They were all surprised. Square was surprised because they were like, think about it. 15 came out on every freaking console possible, like 2 or 3 years after on PC. They had this huge amount of money they made from it, and then they went around with Sony. Sony came over to them and wanted it exclusive until December of this year. So
no, we don't know. We don't know when the PC port has not even begun development.
Well, regardless of the PC port, I'm talking about Xbox in general. Like, they won't get it.
They might not get it.
They might not get it. Okay, wow. I heard it last time. I heard it was up in the air, but the thing they were worried about was the pre-order numbers on 16 until they released the demo. That's why people were saying this demo was such a. It's almost like a video game cultural event that this demo did well, that it spiked up big time. I said it went from
interesting
hundreds of thousands to like between 1 and 10 million pre-orders. He said. So
wow.
Yeah, it went up a lot. So it's straight from Yoshi P himself. By the way, let's just call it Yoshi P is now the new Sakaguchi, Horinobu Sakaguchi.
Yeah.
He's now Final Fantasy. Let's get over it. He's going to be leading the ship from now on. Let's just say that as it is, man. I think that guy will. He saved Final Fantasy twice, bro.
Yeah, I don't know how you could look at Yoshi P and not just kind of think of him as the guy, because what I'm just gonna say it flat out. What other name could say they put a dent in World of Warcraft?
You're completely right. Not even Black Desert. The Koreans couldn't even do it, dude.
Nope.
So I mean, and then I
No one
honestly
could do
I thought Black Desert was going to be
Me too.
a hit, but if anything, it's good. I mean, it's got about a viewership of about 40,000 people on Twitch, I think, annually.
It
from what
just
I've seen.
doesn't have like it's crazy to me.
It's not Western
that-
based though. That's all Korean based, I think, Eastern based.
Even still, Final Fantasy 14, it's I mean, geez, that game is pretty Eastern based when you get that right down to brass tacks. Like, it's not, the game isn't about progression. The game is about being an individual, almost in the abstract. So, like, for an MMO to be embraced like that game did something right.